Welcome to another episode of Codo Cinema, the podcast show where I talk about movies. I'm your host, the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Codo, aka Codo Man. Well, folks, this is it. The big one. The ultimate cut of all director's cut. The cut that has been in the making since 2017, or should I say since 2019, and after the release of the original. And you guys are probably wondering what director's cut film I am talking about. Well, that director's cut is Zack Snyder's Justice League. The rumors were true, folks. In my previous episode of Codo Cinema, I gave an update that Zack Snyder was doing a director's cut of Justice League. And this is how we are about to get the director's cut of Justice League, which came out in November of 2017, directed by Zack Snyder. However, that film was a theatrical version of Justice League that came out in 2017, which, as I mentioned, was directed by Zack Snyder. However, almost the entirety of the film was reshot by Joss Whedon, who you may remember Joss Whedon for directing the first two Avengers. He also wrote this. He was also one of the writers and creators of Buffy the Vampire, Serenity. Plus, he also worked for Disney, being a co-writer for the first Toy Story film, and did the story for Atlantis: The Lost Empire. So how did Warner Brothers brought Joss Whedon in to reshoot the entire Justice League film? Let's just say many disasters ahead. Plus, if you want to check out my Justice League update film, the one that I was giving the update to the original, to what the director's cut of Justice League was like, you can definitely check that out. I forgot what episode it was, but it was one of my previous episodes where I mentioned of what the Justice League Snyder Cut would look like moving ahead. Right now, in today's episode, this is my review of Zack Snyder's Justice League, because I actually saw the Justice League film on HBO Max, the director's cut, not the theatrical cut. So anyway, going on topic. After the critical and box office disaster of Justice League, from Joss Whedon's perspective, fans and members of the cast and crew began to push for Zack Snyder's version of Justice League, which began the hashtag release the Snyder Cut. And finally, in February of 2020, which was last year, Warner Brothers decided to move ahead with the film, and it was released on HBO Max on March 18th, 2021, which was last week. From the point of view of the critics generally considered the film an improvement over the 2017 theatrical release, and a lot of praise went out to Snyder's direction and the improved characterization of the characters, though some criticized the runtime of the film. And yes, this is technically a director's cut, because when you think of the director's cut, you're thinking about the entire film from the director's point of view, which means you're seeing the entire film with no deleted scenes, if that's how I'm seeing it. When you think of a theatrical cut, you think of a film kind of like a shorter film, but while maintaining the runtime. But the thing is, the theatrical cut does have scenes that were actually deleted, so that's why the director's cut was the ultimate cut that has everything that you have never seen in the original version. So that technically that was the thing, and that was actually one of the main criticisms in the 2017 theatrical cut of Justice League, that the pacing was off. It was at a 2-hour runtime, which I didn't mind that, although at the same time it felt rushed, because it was a rushed film. Because of the reshoots that was going on in Justice League. The reshoots and rewrites, particularly the infamous Superman mustache, as well as some of Batman's dialogue. Actually, the majority of Batman's dialogue was rewritten during the reshoots. Plus, the visual effects were not even rendered properly in the original version. The music itself from Danny Elfman felt rushed too. Although, no disrespect to Danny Elfman, I think he did a pretty good job. But he was in a bad position for that Justice League film. I mean, hey, I'll give him points for trying, but it did not. But the music itself did not fit the tone. Although I do appreciate some moments from his music, particularly the Flash theme that he created in that film, especially the Batman and Superman themes. However, in the new version, in the director's cut, ooh, it's a 4-hour film. Ooh, so technically, we all got what we wanted. Right? Is that right? Mm-hmm. We all got what we wanted. So we might as well talk about it. So anyway, I mean, oh, by the way, spoiler alert for those who have not seen the director's cut of Justice League on HBO Max. It's on HBO Max. I suggest you should also take a good look at it as well. But for the most part, I'm gonna point out my thoughts on the film. Now, in my point of view of the film, I saw this last week. I thought it was a huge improvement, a step forward in the right direction, despite the runtime being long. And I have seen longer films before, particularly The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. It was something. It was a huge film, and one of the most anticipated films, I should say, especially when it's released on HBO Max. So anyway, going into the film, I like how it picks up after Batman vs. Superman, where it shows the death of Superman, basically Superman being killed by Doomsday. And throughout that, we get to hear a huge sound wave from Superman, the scream of Superman being heard all over the world, especially the planets as well. And with that, it brought the attention of not only Batman and Wonder Woman, but also Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor does make an appearance in the opening as well. And Lex Luthor, who was contacting Steppenwolf through that hologram or something, which was actually brought to life prior to the huge to the scream. And man, you definitely know, like from the Superman death, Darkseid and Steppenwolf were coming. They were coming. Plus, there was also a deleted scene like that in the Batman vs. Superman Ultimate Cut where Lex Luthor was contacting Steppenwolf, which sets up the villain for Justice League. And oh man, I would definitely say that opening was something. It was something. It did, and man, it was something that many people have never seen, probably have not believed or seen, especially when it was cut in Batman vs. Superman. And basically, going further into the film, I also liked how the film goes into Iceland, where Batman was searching for Aquaman. I actually liked how they actually picked that up instead of going to the let me just say this, Superman mustache, which was in the original, which was in the 2017 theatrical version of Justice League, and boy, wasn't that a memory you can't wipe away. Yeah, technically, we don't see that in the director's cut, which is actually pretty good. Although I didn't mind that one scene where we get to see Batman fighting crime in the opening of the theatrical Justice League cut. No, and I mean in the theatrical version of Justice League, which that scene was shot by Joss Whedon, which I didn't really mind that, but which you kind of think about it, it does pinpoint Batman as the caped crusader who's out in the night fighting crime, which, to be fair, kind of on my part kind of fits the idea of the character, but not much really from that point of view of the writing. So, but I do like how it transitions to Iceland in the opening film, where he's searching for Aquaman, plus trying to convince Aquaman to join his team, which is the Justice League, because they need warriors, heroes, and basically trying to bribe him. Plus, I also like how one of the kids at the bar where Bruce was at when he was talking to Aquaman in Iceland, I actually kind of liked how he actually took Bruce Wayne's money. I was like, oh, that was actually kind of funny. and one of the moments in the film, it still followed along what the theatrical version of Justice League still had when Aquaman and Bruce Wayne were talking, especially when Aquaman's about to go to the water and swim back down to the ocean. They still have that. At least there was no Joss Whedon writing or something. And one part of the film that I feel like kind of dragged a bit in the director's cut was probably the singing, the choir singing Now, it was basically they were singing once Aquaman started to leave. Now, to be fair, it did catch me off guard because I thought the song was actually pretty good. I mean, it was definitely cute as I see Aquaman as a god. Well, to be fair, there was a comic book storyline of the new gods for DC, so technically that's definitely something. But I feel like it dragged on for a while. I mean, that was just my only criticism. I didn't think the song was bad. It wasn't bad. It was not a bad song, but it was. I feel like it kind of dragged on for a bit. But thankfully, we jumped into the next scene where Wonder Woman was stopping stopping an explosion that was happening. I actually kind of thought that was actually pretty cool of how we get to see each hero. We get to see each hero, and it was definitely something that we got to see. It was definitely something that we got to see. We got to see. Wonder Woman was able to save the kids from a bomb attack from a terrorist group in that film. Plus we get to see Wonder Woman's theme, or hear our Wonder Woman's theme. I mean, but actually there was something else in the music that was going on for Wonder Woman's theme, and it's the choir. I can't really describe how it sounded like, but it reminded me of Gladiator a bit when Russell Crowe's character Maximus was heading home and grieved the loss of his wife and son. And I remember the solo singer was literally giving a similar choir song or chant that was going on in the background, which actually kind of reminded me of that scene. And that's kind of what they did with Wonder Woman in Justice League. They give a similar female solo chant for Wonder Woman, which I actually thought was pretty cool, as it represents as I thought it represented the Amazonian idea for Wonder Woman, especially with the location of where she lives, which is Themyscira. And technically this popped up in the when Wonder Woman, I think it was in London if I remember correctly, when that first attack happened for in the Justice League film, which I remember correctly. But the action sequence, going to the action was actually pretty cool. We also get a slow motion shot of Wonder Woman deflecting the bullets, which I thought was cool. Which I thought was really cool, especially how she saved everyone, including the kids, which I thought they were definitely going on a field trip or something, which I thought was really cool. It was also heartwarming to see how one of the kids said like, I could be like you one of these days, which is a compliment. Sometimes people can be, sometimes kids may want to grow up as superheroes, so that could be something. Okay, so I'm jumping ahead. Moving forward, I do like some of the changes. I do like some of the additions to the film. We get to see more of Cyborg. We get to see more of Cyborg's backstory, which, to be fair, would have been saved for a possible Cyborg film, but it actually worked well in the director's cut of Justice League, because, to quote Zack Snyder, Cyborg is actually the heart of the film. And that was the original idea in the theatrical cut of Justice League, because Cyborg was originally going to be the heart of the film, but it turns out during the reshoots and the forced runtime mandate, most of his backstory was cut out and was reduced to more of a side and supporting character. Now, he was more of a supporting character in this one too, but even though he was a supporting character in the director's cut of Justice League, he did get a major redemption. That was something. Like, we get to see Cyborg playing football. We get to see like the car crash. We get to see how his father was reviving his son, trying to bring his son back to life with the technology, including the mother box that is trying to bring Cyborg back to life. Or should I say Victor Stone. Victor Stone's the alter ego for Cyborg. which I actually thought was pretty good. And going back to Themyscira, we get to see we get to see the Amazons defending the mother box because Steppenwolf, played once again by Kieran Hines, arrives. And let me tell you this. Steppenwolf's design in this one is a huge improvement. Huge improvement in this version compared to the theatrical version. Because if you look really closely in this version, the CGI is so much better. The CGI feels rendered. The design itself is scary. He looks like a monster. Compared to what he was in the theatrical cut. The theatrical cut, I'll give the theatrical cut credit because they did try to make his look like one of his 52 comic book storyline characters, because there was actually a comic book storyline where Steppenwolf kind of looks like a giant human, even though he's more of an alien, where they actually kind of make him look a little more human in that other version. But the CGI was too distracting, of how distracting that CGI was. But in this version, the director's cut, man, huge update. He is a monster. He still got the horn. He still got the helmet that he wears. Plus, the spikes all over his armor. That was something. That was definitely something. I also like the quotes. Like, once Steppenwolf came in, he was like, he wants to bring in darkness and bathe in the fear. And the Amazons just quoted out. The Amazons, including Hippolyta, Diane, Wonder Woman's mother, says, "Show him your fear." And then all the other Amazons quoted, "We have no fear." Like, oh my God, that was real. This is about to get real. They're about to go on. They're about to fight the parademons and Steppenwolf. Oh man! And let me tell you something. The fight itself was, oh man, it was crazy. It was a crazy fight. Especially the moments where it got so emotional is when they were inside that dome. When they were inside that dome, that was the moment that really got me, because the dome collapsed into the ocean, which had all the other Amazons, the parademons, and Steppenwolf. I feel bad, which really got me to feel bad for the Amazons, because they sacrificed themselves to fight off Steppenwolf and defend the mother box. Unfortunately, in a surprising twist, Steppenwolf and the parademons bounced out of the flew out of the ocean and bounced. Like, they literally, like, man, that was crazy. That was crazy how they come out of the ocean and flew. And the battle itself is literally an improvement over what Joss Whedon had in his original cut. It was well paced, and it took the time to set up the motivation for Steppenwolf on why he's claiming the first mother box. And as I mentioned, wanting to bring fear, because the parademons who are in the battle smell fear. Even though I don't think they smell fear in this one. I mean, dang. I love how he fights off the Amazons. Like, every time the Amazons fire their arrows at Steppenwolf, including their spears, he keeps going. Like there is nothing stopping Steppenwolf. I also like how he was more threatening. The vulnerability, more defensive as well. Especially how he absorbs the arrows, and it comes out like as if it was giving Hawkeye a run for his money or something. Man, that was something. That battle was something. Like, it's an emotional battle, but it was a battle that kept me on the edge of my seat. So anyway, moving forward, Bruce Wayne and Diana Prince seek to form the team of metahumans, which is the Justice League, to protect Earth in Superman's absence. So far, Bruce Wayne already located Arthur Curry, and then he has to find Barry Allen, the Flash, while Wonder Woman, Diana Prince, locates Victor Stone. So anyway, cutting to Barry Allen, the Flash. Barry did try to apply for a job, but notices a car crash from Iris West, So Barry, with his quick response and thinking, goes into slow motion and saves Iris. Well, the slow motion part, or should I say the Quicksilver part. I actually kind of like how they added on the Iris West, because that was another scene that they cut out from the theatrical cuts for some reason. And I think some sources claim that that alone was supposed to be part of a backstory for Barry Allen the Flash, particularly for character development, which is probably something which I'm pretty sure it was. That literally sets up probably the love relationship between Barry Allen and Iris West, because in the comic books, I'm pretty sure in the comics, Barry Allen and Iris West were definitely a couple. And yeah. So basically, heading back into Aquaman. Aquaman had more development in this one too. Even though we didn't get to see Atlantis, despite the Aquaman film we did. Aquaman, as usual, saves a boat sailor, takes him to town for safety, takes the entire bottle of whiskey, and leaves. Plus, we do get to see Aquaman walk in front of the waves and dives to the water kingdom and encounters Volko, played once again by Willem Dafoe, to take his mother's trident. And boy, Volko had a different hair design for that one, which is definitely something that caught me off guard. Which, hey, to be fair, I mean, seeing Willem Dafoe as Volko in this film was actually pretty good. Like as he begs Aquaman to take his mother's trident and reclaim Atlantis, which was a moment that was cut out from the original theatrical cut of Justice League. And oh boy, I think the studio made a big mistake for cutting out Willem Dafoe from the theatrical cut of Justice League. Somehow the studio made a big mistake on that one. But thankfully it was restored in this one. Now, also, there was another scene where Steppenwolf actually interrogates some of the Atlanteans, and basically he's looking for the second mother box from Atlantis, only for Steppenwolf to use what used to be a weird alien robot spider to use one of the Atlanteans to track down the second mother box, which was at an Atlantean outpost. So going into the underwater Atlantean battle, it actually got blood. It got bloody. There was so much blood throughout that battle. Especially the fight. The entire fight scenes. There was blood. I mean, that's something you didn't even see in the theatrical cut of Justice League. Man, that was crazy. That actually got me. Especially when Mira, played once again by Amber Heard, uses her powers to suck out the water from Steppenwolf, like throughout that bubble, that water bubble that she uses in Justice League. They did that again, but she sucked out. But with that, she sucked out the water from Steppenwolf. But there was she also sucked out some of his blood as well, which really got gruesome. I was like, oh my gosh, Mira almost killed Steppenwolf. She almost did, but Steppenwolf threw her off to the side. And then, as always, Aquaman tries to fight Steppenwolf, even though he loses. I also like how Steppenwolf uses his head to charge at Aquaman, especially when getting the second mother box. So, yep. So then Diana Prince also gets Cyborg, and Bruce Wayne does get Barry Allen the Flash. They still kept the slow-mo battering scene during the scene where Barry and Bruce met for the first time. Oh, I also skipped, and before going into the first battle, which is under Gotham Harbor, there was the battle sequence, the flashback battle sequence which was explained in the film. Like, now in that battle, Steppenwolf wasn't even in the flashback battle. That was in the theatrical cut. That was for Steppenwolf. But what we didn't know, that it was supposed to be Darkseid. Darkseid was in that flashback battle against the Amazons, Atlanteans, humans, and a Green Lantern, especially the Olympian gods, because 1,000 years ago, Darkseid and his legions of parademons attempted to conquer Earth using the mother boxes and find Earth harbors the anti-life equation. And that is the motivation for Steppenwolf and Darkseid of this film. Like, they want to wipe out Earth and set up the anti-life equation. The attempt was foiled by a unified alliance of Olympian gods, Amazons, Atlanteans, humans, and a Green Lantern. And after Darkseid's army is repelled, the mother boxes were separated and hidden in different locations. And let me tell you something. Seeing the flashback battle with Darkseid was awesome. That was awesome and crazy, because when you think about it, you're having almost everybody from the gods to the Amazons, Atlanteans, and humans, especially a Green Lantern, coming together and fight off the Parademons and Darkseid. Plus, Ares, we got to see a little more of Ares in this one too. Ares and Zeus fighting together. I especially like how Ares literally stabs, uses his axe and chops into Darkseid's arm. My goodness, like, at least he didn't aim for the head though. Oh wait, that's too soon. Oh wait, no, that was Thor. That was Thor in Avengers. My bad. Anyway, man, that was crazy. Man, oh man, that was crazy. Going to the first battle with the Justice League, the team receives intel from Commissioner James Gordon, which is being played by J.K. Simmons, who played J. Jonah Jameson in Spider-Man. And by the way, there's a Spider-Man reference in this film, by the way. So basically, Commissioner Gordon leads the team to Steppenwolf's army in an abandoned facility under Gotham Harbor. Although the group rescues the kidnapped employees and the facility is flooded during the combat, which traps the team until Arthur Curry helps delay the flood so the team can escape. So then Victor Stone retrieves the last mother box, which he had hidden for the group to analyze. And by the way, the battle in this one was so much better. Like we get to hear Wonder Woman's theme in that one too, so yeah, it's actually pretty good. Though Batman still struggles with the fighting with the parademons, but hey, at least he got a little more fighting in this one compared to what Joss Whedon did to him. So then, what else? So the group decides to use the mother box to resurrect Superman, as always, to help fight Steppenwolf. Somehow, Alan and Stone exhume, forgive my mispronunciation, Superman's body, and the group places it in the Genesis chamber fluid in a Kryptonian scout ship, which was actually kept in Star Labs. And after Alan activates the mother box, Superman is resurrected, and it turns out Superman is confused and attacks the group after Stone accidentally launches an attack at him. And so, as always, we get to see the fight again. Thankfully, there is no upper lip mustache. Plus, especially during the one sequence where Superman fights Barry Allen, there is actually a name on one of the tombstones on one of the big memorials, and the name on that is one of the names I saw, and I'm pretty sure many people probably missed it, is Ben Parker. And you guys are probably wondering, oh yeah, Uncle Ben from Spider-Man, which is basically from the Marvel Universe. And I don't know how that got in there, but I'm just going to say this. DC and Marvel, there were basically a few references here and there throughout some of the DC films. And also, for those of you who don't know, Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, they also worked for DC as well. They were also writing some comics for DC before transitioning to Marvel as well. And also, this wasn't the first DC film where DC references Marvel. In the Lego Batman movie, which also came out the same year as the Justice League film, Batman has a password to get in the Batcave, and that password is Iron Man sucks. Oh man, which is a reference to Marvel and DC's rivalry, because Marvel Comics and DC Comics, they are a huge competition, and they are huge at it's a rivalry. It's a rivalry between Marvel and DC, like which one is better, Marvel or DC? Which is kind of the joke in the Lego Batman movie, which is the password that Batman makes for Iron Man. Oh man, that was a pretty funny joke. I also saw the Lego Batman movie as well. It was a pretty funny movie. I did like that joke, but I thought that as a sideline because there have been a few Marvel references in some DC films as well. So I'm saying this as a side note too. So anyway, going back, so long before the battle is over, Lois Lane, who has been regularly visiting Superman's memorial, arrives in time to calm down Superman, and they both leave together for his family home in Smallville, where he regains his memories and reunites with his mother Martha, which Martha is played by Diane Lane, plus Lois Lane, Amy Adams as well. And by the way, there was also a scene where with Martha and Lois that they were talking. Plus, at the end, we get to see the Colonel, who actually turns out to be Martian Manhunter. Like Henry, I think his name is Henry Lennox, if I remember his name correctly. I'm pretty sure that is his name, the name of the actor, because we get to see Martian Manhunter in this film. Yes, Harry Lennox. He reprises his role from the previous DC Extended Universe films as Calvin Swanwick, who is revealed to be Martian Manhunter. Oh man. And this wasn't the only scene we get to see Martian Manhunter in. So after the battle, after that, we get to see more. We get to see Bruce Wayne, Diane Prince, and Alfred Pennyworth agree to set up. That's at the end of the film. Excuse me, not to get ahead of myself. Excuse me, not to get ahead of myself. My apologies. So Steppenwolf attacks Star Labs and retrieves the last mother box. Though Silas Stone, Victor Stone's father, played once again by Joe Morton, manages to supercharge the box with laser heat at the cost of his own life, allowing Stone to deduce its location by tracing the residue heat. Without Superman, the five heroes travel to where Steppenwolf aims to unite the mother boxes, and the team fights their way through the parademons to reach the mother boxes, but cannot distract Steppenwolf enough for Stone to separate the mother boxes. And by the way, they still have the Batmobile sequence throughout that final battle. Still awesome. We also get to see a nice slow-mo shot from all five members of the Justice League. Kind of reminds me of that one slow-mo scene in Avengers: Age of Ultron, where we get to see the main Avengers, which is definitely a nice callback. Plus, we don't get to see the red color background nor the Russian family, which was one of the things that happened in the theatrical cut of Justice League, by the way. So anyway, the fight with Steppenwolf, I say it was definitely better than the theatrical cut, because we get to see each member of the Justice League using their own powers to fight off against Steppenwolf. And boy, it does pay off pretty well, especially towards the end. So then, before going to that part, Superman arrives and overpowers Steppenwolf, because Steppenwolf almost was about to kill Cyborg, because Cyborg was at the mother boxes trying to do something about it, but somehow Superman emerges and stops Steppenwolf's axe. And guess what? Superman uses his freezing breath power to ice up Steppenwolf's axe, his weapon, axe. Oh man! And as always, Superman literally goes to town on Steppenwolf. Somehow the boxes were merging to form the Unity, causing a massive explosion. We also get to see Darkseid, Desaad, the parademon and the parademons. Oh man. Oh man, oh man. Talk about fan service in this. Talk about fan service, folks. Man, talk about fan service. My goodness. That is a lot. I can't even keep going. I don't know if I can keep going on this. Man, I can't keep going on this. But Flash does manage to reverse time by going into the Speed Force, allowing Superman and Stone to separate the mother boxes. And after that, Aquaman stabs Steppenwolf, and Wonder Woman decapitates Steppenwolf, throwing his body through a portal to Apocalypse, where Darkseid and his servant Desaad were standing there and watch. And plus, Darkseid also squashes Steppenwolf's head. Hey, they didn't call Steppenwolf for nothing. So then Darkseid and Desaad are assuming and they are being assured that they will return to Earth to complete the quest for the anti-life equation. Ooh, I am smelling a sequel coming up, folks. If that ever happens. So after the battle, Bruce Wayne, Diane Prince, and Alfred Pennyworth agreed to set up a base of operations at the former Wayne Manor, with room for more members. As the team establishes, Wonder Woman receives another message from the Amazons. Barry Allen, the Flash, acquires a job in Central City's police department, which impresses his father Henry. Plus, Victor Stone is inspired by a message from his father to use his abilities for good. Hey, you know what they say? With great power comes great responsibility. Well, a little reference for Spider-Man, but sometimes you gotta use your powers for good. Sometimes it's not just from Spider-Man; it can be for people too. You gotta use your power for good. Use your power for good, and not for bad. Use your power for good, folks. So then Arthur Curry bids farewell to Mira and his mentor Vogel as he goes to see his father, which is basically setting up the first Aquaman film, by the way. And then Superman resumes his life as a reporter, aka Clark Kent, and becomes the protector of Earth once more. We also get to see Lex Luthor again, played again by Jesse Eisenberg, who escaped from Arkham Asylum and is visited by Slade Wilson, to which many people recognize Slade Wilson as Deathstroke, to whom Luthor reveals Batman's secret identity. So then there was also another dream sequence, or should I say nightmare sequence, where Batman is teamed up with Victor Stone, Barry Allen, Mira, Slade Wilson, and the Joker, played once again by Jared Leto. Plus, we get to see an evil Superman in a post-apocalyptic world. So then, Bruce Wayne wakes up from the nightmare sequence and receives a visit from the Martian Manhunter, who previously visited Lane, disguised as Martha. Or something. Yeah. Oh man. Oh, I think I missed out on that part. But anyway, probably minor thing I probably missed out. So basically, Martian Manhunter thanks Bruce Wayne for assembling the team before saying that they will be in contact in preparation for Darkseid's next plan. Okay, which I love. I really, really love that last scene. That was great. That was an amazing final scene right there before the credits. Also, for those of you who don't know that final scene, that scene alone where Bruce Wayne meets Martian Manhunter, that scene alone was supposed to set up. That scene was supposed to introduce two Green Lanterns, which is Yalinger and Kilowog, and basically they were planned to have that in that scene and to appear through the use of CGI effects in the final scene that centered around Bruce Wayne. And Zack Snyder originally filmed it to feature Jon Stewart, but somehow the studio turned down the idea as they have other plans for Stewart not related to Snyder's universe. But he also had an earlier idea to include Ryan Reynolds, who portrayed Hal Jordan in the 2011 Green Lantern film, as the additional lantern in that scene to order to filling out the Green Lantern Corps. That scene alone was supposed to set up the Green Lantern Corps. And I quote a little bit more than, say, just one Green Lantern. However, that idea alone was scrapped. And I am actually glad they actually kept the scene, but instead of having the Green Lanterns, they replaced the Green Lanterns with Martian Manhunter, which I really, really like. That really does say something. Plus, we also get the credits playing Hallelujah in dedication to Zack Snyder's daughter, Autumn. And there you have it, folks. Yes. Oh, man, that was a lot to talk about because that was something. I mean, wasn't that something? Wasn't Zack Snyder's Justice League film something? So what did you guys think? Did you see the movie? Did you like the movie? Did I miss out on any moments? I mean, to be fair, I mean, we got what we wanted, folks. So that is something. So we got what we wanted. Yeah. We all got what we wanted. So yeah. I mean, I forgot to mention the music. The music part in Justice League was very well improved from Junkie XL, or should I say Tom Hulkenberg. Very good music that they actually put in for the Justice League score. Amazing. And I will say this, as I mentioned, we got what we wanted in terms of what a director's cut is about. I will admit there were a few moments that did lagged on for a while, particularly some conversation scenes, and the one moment from when the Icelandic villagers were singing after Aquaman left. I mean, just some minor issues. But for the most part, we got a lot of surprising moments that we have never seen in the original cut of Justice League. Seeing the Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg having more character development and depth. The music itself from Junkie XL, aka Tom Hulkenberg, is real good. As much as I admire Danny Elfman's score from the theatrical cut of Justice League, he was just shoehorned in at the last minute. I mean, it felt like a rush score from his point of view, but no disrespect. I mean, his score is okay, but it didn't fit the tone of what the theatrical cut had in mind. Steppenwolf was much improved in this one. He was well improved in this film, especially with his dialogue. His dialogue is more threatening compared to what the theatrical cut of Justice League had. We got to see Darkseid for the very first time, so oh boy, we'll see how that's gonna turn out. If there's ever going to be a Snyderverse, that is hard to say because I don't know. I actually don't know. I mean, will DC move forward with more films for Zack Snyder, or are they going to continue on with individual solo films, which I think is actually fine. But who's to say? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what the future of the DCEU will hold up. All we gotta do is wait, but hey, let's celebrate this film. This Justice League Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder's Justice League, is definitely one of the few director's cut that I actually enjoy. This is something that many people have been waiting for a long time, and there is only one word to celebrate this film: Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. That was long in the waiting, folks. Zack Snyder's Justice League. Thank you for tuning in to Codo Cinema. I'm your host, Mark Codo, aka Codo Man. Remember to watch movies and stay positive.